All right, well, if we're going to be able to survive this toxic world that's full of narcissists, then we are going to have to be able to lie. That's right. I said it, and I'm going to say it again. We have to know when to lie, how to lie, and why it is important to lie, especially in a toxic world that's full of narcissists. And I know what you're saying, Kevin, we don't do that. That's what narcissists do. Yes. However, there's some things that we have got to understand in order to protect ourselves from narcissists. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, when it comes to the principle of lying, there's two things that we have to contend with and we have to overcome. Number one is most of us were disciplined heavily when it comes to the concept of lying. Maybe you had a heavy-handed parent who would slap you in the face or the mouth or even in the ass anytime you would lie or fib or tell a tale or just not be honest. I know I experienced some of that while I was growing up, which isn't a bad thing, but if it's not done the right way, it's not a good thing either. There's so much more that we need to understand about being able to lie, about the importance of some of the aspects of being dishonest. Okay? Number two, the second thing that we have to contend with is the moral obligation of not lying. How many of you were raised around religious parents or people who really looked down upon the concept of lying and not being honest and not telling the truth, right? I was raised there as well. I had a double whammy. I had parents that would smack me for not telling the truth, and I had the moral obligation aspect, two things that I have had to overcome in my life. Now, I want to share with you a scripture. And this is a very important concept to understand because it's going to help you to understand what the ancient people thought about lies and about not telling the truth in each and every case. Okay, here we go. This comes from Proverbs chapter 12, verse 23, and it says this. It says, actually, verse 22, it says, lying lips are detestable to the Lord, but those who deal faithfully are his delight. There you go, right there. Typically, that's where it stops. That's where parents stop. That's where pastors and preachers stop. Don't lie, tell the truth. Lying is detestable to the Lord. But the ancients had a different understanding, and they continued on. If you would just read a little bit further, the next verse says this, verse 23, a shrewd man keeps his knowledge to himself. What? A shrewd man keeps his knowledge to himself. Now, we know the importance of being shrewd because later in the New Testament, we see that it is written, be as shrewd as a serpent, but innocent as a dove. So we are called to be shrewd in our life. And one of the rules of being a shrewd person is to keep knowledge to yourself. Now we're going to get into the what lies we need to be able to tell in this life in order to protect ourselves from narcissists and from a world of toxicity. When it comes to keeping knowledge to ourselves, I'm going to give you a perfect example from my own life. There's two instances where I did just this. The first one was over a decade ago when I was first married, as a matter of fact, and I had lost my job. And already we knew there were some people within the family that we should not really be giving up too much information to. But at the time, it was under the impression that we just didn't want people to worry about us in our situation. I had just lost my job. Some people may look down on that. It was rough. We had a rough patch that we had to figure out. And so my wife and I came together and said, let's not tell these certain people because we don't want them to worry. But as I look back, it had nothing to do with not wanting them to worry. It had everything to do because those people would talk shit because they were narcissists in this toxic world. And what they would do is take that information and use it to attack, use it to make you feel like you're not good enough, use it to make you feel like you're inadequate. And that's what we knew was going to take place. And we did not need that kind of pressure on top of me just losing a job and having to figure out how to get back to work. So what we did is automatically resorted to continuing on the belief that I was still working. Now, we did that, like I said, in our own minds, we just didn't want them to worry. But really, we didn't want people looking down. We didn't want the toxicity of the world to intrude on an already bad situation. So there's one type of an issue where you can withhold the truth and be shrewd. Now, I came into this once again about 4 to 5 years ago now, when my family was getting ready to move from Southern California to St. Louis to start a brand new life. There were certain people, once again, that we just did not tell our leaving plans to. We had let people know we're considering moving, but we did not let people know the exact date, when we were going to leave, what time, or whether or not we wanted to get together. We left that out. We withheld that knowledge. That knowledge was for us. And the reason is because we did not want to give certain people an opportunity to sabotage the efforts, to get in our face, to tell us how wrong of an idea it is, to tell us how bad it is. We just left those people out of the loop. Again, withholding knowledge. And again, this is just being shrewd as a serpent, innocent as a dove. And this is how we have to have this mindset. And this is what I wish my parents would have taught me. It's one thing to discipline your children and say, don't lie and don't do this, don't be honest. It's another thing to do that, but also tell them there's going to be times where you have to withhold information. Don't give up all the things that you're doing in life. Don't be so honest that you have nothing within yourself, that you have no knowledge that you're retaining to yourself. If everybody knows what you're doing, then everybody has the capacity to hold you down. And in this toxic world full of narcissism, that's exactly what takes place. Narcissists who surround you in your family, your spouses, anywhere, they have a desire to hold you down. How many of you understand this concept? You've experienced it now. So how many of you now understand the importance of being able to withhold the truth, withhold your knowledge, or in other words, be able to lie? Now, for those of you who follow Royal We Fellowship, you'll know that we are right now studying in Royal We Fellowship, which, by the way, is every Saturday morning. It's an in-depth Bible study. We're looking at the ancient people's understanding of toxicity in the world and of narcissism. So even if you are not a Christian, I invite you to join us on Royal We Fellowship every Saturday morning. But right now, we are studying Abraham. How many of you have heard of Father Abraham? You know, there's an old song, Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so were you, right? So that's, anyways, all right. I'll stop. I know you're probably like, Kevin, just get to the point already. So Abraham was the father of many nations according to the ancient understanding. Now, Abraham was also a very notorious liar and good at it. Man, as we read through and look at the lies that he told during his journey, one of them that he used on many instances was to say that his wife, Sarah, was actually his sister. He would do this going into the different kingdoms. He would say, this is my sister. And he did it to one king in particular, King Abimelech. They went into his kingdom. This is my sister. And then King Abimelech took Sarah. And the reason was because Sarah was beautiful. She's gorgeous. She was a hottie. King Abimelech took her, and the Lord visited him in a dream and said, basically, you touch her, I will end your life, boy. And so he gave Sarah back to Abraham and said, what have you done? I was visited in this dream. In this dream, it said, this is your wife, not your sister. Why did you lie to me? Why did you deal with me in this way? Abraham gave him the answer, and this is what you and I need to know. It's this answer. Abraham said, the reason is because I know my wife is very beautiful. And my fear is that if I were to tell you that it's my wife, you would kill me to take her. What did Abraham understand about this world that you and I struggle to? That's the whole point of telling you the story of Abraham. In the ancient story, Abraham understood the toxicity of the world around him and the kingdoms. And his plan was, look, I will tell people that you are my sister instead of my wife. That way, the toxic, narcissistic people in this world will not try to kill me in order to take you. Now, a lot of people will say, well, he lacked faith. Yes, he did. But he also understood this principle right here. A shrewd man keeps knowledge to himself. A shrewd man meaning someone who wishes to preserve and escape the unnecessary hardships in life. And this is something that you and I need to be able to get a hold of. Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey. Visit www.jointheroyalwe.com where you can schedule one-on-one time with me. We could do a FaceTime appointment. We could do a telephone appointment or an email/text message appointment. It's up to you. Again, www.jointheroyalwe.com. Also, every Monday night is Royal We Live Chat. This is where we come together as a community. You can ask questions, answer questions. You can even call me for free as long as you know that it is live. You can find the link down below in the description box. Saturday mornings is Royal We Fellowship. This is an in-depth Bible study. We are going from the book of Genesis on. We are going verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and applying it to this toxic world of narcissism. Again, you can find the link down below in the description box, and I hope to see you with me every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for Royal We Fellowship. And I'll be back with more videos right here on the Royal We.